So if you're new here, my name's Lucy and I make videos all about Mauritius. And this week I want to talk about the budget because it's just recently been announced. That's the budget for 2022. And also a couple of travel updates because just announced, fresh off the press, Mauritius no longer requires the use of masks. In other words, masks are no longer mandatory. Although there's no legal obligation to wear masks as of the beginning of July, you are still going to need to wear them in hospitals, private clinics, pharmacies, doctors' offices, airports, and also on public transport. You will not need a PCR test either if you are fully vaccinated. In fact, regardless of vaccination status, there's no longer a requirement for travellers to test or self-isolate to enjoy the island. So these are really great bits of news. At last, COVID restrictions have been lifted pretty much, so that's really good news. And then let's move on to the budget because of course it was recently announced and it's, all positive things for Mauritius. This tiny island is still obviously trying to attract foreigners, expats. They want people to come here to live, to invest, and of course to make a life for themselves on this island. Before I begin, I must stress that some of the measures in the budget will not necessarily come into force. This is because they will first have to be debated in Parliament. So just as long as you're aware of that, then we are good to go. Okay, so let's move on to the first point, and this is possibly one of the most exciting pointers that we've got from the budget speech. I'm just going to look at my notes here, and that's basically foreigners will be allowed to buy houses in Mauritius outside of the current schemes. So what exactly does that mean? That means residence permit holders to be eligible to acquire a residential property of a minimum of $350,000 outside of existing schemes, subject to a 10% contribution made to the Solidarity Fund. So this is massive. Previously, foreigners were only allowed to buy into property schemes known as PDS, or previously known as IRS or RES. They could also buy ground plus 2 apartments or in smart cities, whereas now they will be allowed to buy in a much broader range of areas. Of course, this does not include beachfront properties. So if you're wondering who can utilize this scheme, first off, this measure only applies to those who have a residence permit. So this basically applies to anyone who has permanent residency here. For example, if you were on a retirement visa or if you had an occupation permit or a work visa. Please note though that if you're here on a premium visa or a tourist visa, you're not going to be able to take advantage of this scheme. So the second point on the budget that is definitely worth mentioning is the fractional ownership of real estate in Mauritius. So what this basically means is that when a husband and wife or two friends or investors buy a property together, say for the value of $750,000, like a villa, what would happen is that they would both get permanent residency. As you can see, this is a super incentive and is a really positive option for real estate in Mauritius. Now, of course, I've cherry-picked some key pointers here for you, so it's a really condensed version. But if you do want to see the full budget speech, I will leave it down in the description below. You can just link to it down there. The next one, absolutely worth talking about, number 3 on my list, is the premium visa in Mauritius for expats. It will be clarified that the foreign employer of the holder of a premium visa will not, in respect of that employee, be subject to the payment of corporate tax under the Income Tax Act and social contribution under the Social Contribution and Social Benefits Act. So that's just another great advantage to the premium visa. And let me just say that this premium visa really is an excellent way to get into Mauritius. It's the easiest way to come and live here. For example, if you're not sure about coming here, you can give it a go, whether you're a remote worker, a retiree, or an investor. So in other words, it's limited commitment. All right, the next one is number 4 on my budget list, and that's relating to foreign students in Mauritius. So this is a really good one. This is supporting businesses by enabling them to recruit talents under the Young Professional Occupation Permit visa and enabling entrepreneurs and students to complete their studies and benefit afterwards from the premium visa. So this is really great if you're looking here to study. Obviously, one cannot deny that anything that encourages talented young students and graduates to come to Mauritius is a great idea. But I do think the Young Professional Occupation Permit is definitely the one which is underutilized and needs to be recommended and promoted much, much more. There was also the mention of bank accounts, and what they mean by that is the ease of opening bank accounts. They want to make it just much, much easier for people coming here. Basically, they're looking at a turnaround time of around 1 week. So that's 1 week to open a bank account. Sounds all good on paper. Let's see if that will happen. There's also really great news in terms of farming and agriculture. With the current climate crisis, food costs escalating, cost of living, petrol, all of that stuff, it's now time for Mauritius to start producing more right here on the island. And then perhaps a slightly negative aspect of the budget is the solidarity levy, which will remain in place. While this is a great way to get more tax out of high earners in Mauritius, it is viewed negatively and pushes Mauritius out of the low tax jurisdiction category, which is perhaps not beneficial when trying to attract high net worth individuals. Anyway, let's see what happens. Perhaps they can do away with this solidarity levy in the next couple of years. We will wait to see. And then the last point that I want to bring up about the budget, which could be really attractive if you're looking to buy a car, is that electric and hybrid cars will be subject to zero duty as of July. So that's also a really positive point coming out of the budget. So there you go, those are my cherry-picked pointers for you about the budget here in Mauritius in 2022. A few really quite interesting little aspects there to think about. So in closing, Mauritius still remains a really great place to come. It's an amazing place to work, it's a great place to retire, to invest, and to live a good, carefree, happy life. So if you're interested in relocating to the island, do pop me an email, as I have now partnered with a relocation specialist, someone who really knows the technicalities regarding all the little ins and outs with visas, permits, concierge, acquiring property, all of that stuff. I will gladly steer you in the right direction by sharing their contact details. Well, that's it from me for this week. Sorry, a bit of a long one, but yeah, important budget updates and travel updates. And if you enjoy these videos, do consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. And right now on the screen is another video for you to watch. So do take care, and I will catch ya on the next one. See ya.